Hello, I'm going to do the Capricorn energy reading, and this may or may not resonate with you. If it does, take the parts that do resonate. If it does not, leave the parts that do not resonate, as those may be meant for someone else. All right. Capricorn struggling with Ace of Swords. What do you need to look at? Six of Pentacles. Energies coming in. Strength card. All right, let's get some clarification for this Ace of Swords. Justice. Hangman. Seven of Swords. Six of Pentacles. Ace of Wands. Four of Wands, Queen of Wands, Strength card, Page of Cups, Judgment, the Hermit, and I felt one more, Ten of Cups. What you're struggling with. I feel like something didn't turn out the way that you wanted it to, that you had an idea for something and you thought something was going to happen and it didn't turn out the way that you thought, and you're not understanding, like you're saying, why did this happen to me? Like something didn't turn out the way that you thought it was going to, and you're having trouble seeing. You're questioning that, but I feel like you're not seeing the truth of the situation. You're not seeing things from a different perspective. Like you're having that tunnel vision. Seven of Swords. I keep looking at that card for some reason, that card. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to change it up. I'm just going to pull a card for this Seven of... I feel like you're worrying too much. I feel like you're worrying too much about what other people were going to say about something that you wanted to do. There was something that you wanted to do, but you're so worried about other people's reaction that you're stopping yourself from doing something. You're worried about what someone else is going to say, what someone else is going to think. And so you're not going ahead with something. You're not moving forward with something, because you're too worried about what other people have to say and how they're going to react. You're worrying too much on that. What you need to look at. I feel like the big thing here is the Queen of Wands, because she is somebody who does things for her. And yes, she can be selfish, but she finds ways she takes actions on things that are important to her, and she stands up for herself. I feel like you have to take action on something. I also feel like I feel like maybe there's something you're worried about, what someone else is going to say, think, or do, but I feel like you haven't communicated exactly how important this thing is to you that you want to do. That you haven't communicated, that you haven't spoken up about something, you haven't said why. Sometimes people, I always feel that, again, my brain is working quicker than my mouth. I always feel that if you explain to people why you do things, or how you're thinking, or how you're feeling, that they understand more where you're coming from. If you just say, I'm going to do this, and the other person reacts and they're like, well, what the heck? Like, why are you doing? And they're asking you all these questions, or they're feeling left out, or they're feeling defensive because you just said, I'm just going to do this. But if you explain, if you're worried about what they're going to say or how they're going to react, if you explain to the person, hey, this is really important to me, and this is what I really want to do, or this is what I'm going to do, and this is the reason why, and this is how I'm feeling, however you want to word it or you want to say it. But if you're able to communicate more with that person on your reasons for taking actions on something, then they understand where you're coming from, rather than you just being bossing or controlling or overbearing, where you're just saying, I'm doing it. And then your fear is that their reaction is going to be negative. But it's because I always feel that if you communicate more why you do things, then people can understand that. I mean, yeah, you don't want to have to explain every little thing you do, but I feel like in this instance, it's something big that you want to do that you're holding yourself back from doing because you're worried about what someone else is going to say or do. And that this thing is important enough to you, right? This Ace of Wands, this action is important enough to you that, okay, this is a time where if you do explain it, if you do communicate it, if you have this back and forth, right? That you have this give and take, that it's the true partnership, right? If you're in this partnership, then that person should understand, because you're communicating to them how important this is to you. Future energies coming in is because your confidence is boosted because you took hold of this situation where you saw, okay, this is a situation where I have to communicate more and where there has to be more back and forth. And that I know that I handled this situation the right way, that I didn't back down and I didn't not do something because I was afraid of their reaction, but I stood up, I communicated, and we were able to work things out. So I feel like your emotions feel better. You're hearing the message that you're strong and that you can communicate and that you can work things out. I feel like you're working on yourself. You're doing that inner work because you're building your confidence within yourself. And that makes you feel happy. Yeah, I mean, definitely. Whenever we're working on ourselves and we're making choices for ourselves and we're like, pat yourself on the back and say, oh, I'm so proud of myself because before I would have let that go, before I would have let this bother me, before I would have sacrifice what it is I want to do, or I would have, been too direct and I would have, there would have been an argument that ensued and exactly what I was thinking was going to happen, I made happen because I didn't approach it the right way. But I'm going to pat myself on the back because I saw how I could handle the situation in a better way to where I avoided all that. I spoke my truth, why I wanted to do something, and I communicated properly, and it was a partnership to where that person received what it is I was going to say, and they understood how important this was to me. So I feel like it's giving yourself that pat on the back and being proud of yourself, and your confidence is boosted and saying, okay, instead of me putting myself into a situation where I get backed into a corner or I feel disappointed or let down, I've set myself up for success, right? And that's what I keep saying is that, like in my messages, is set yourself up for success. How do you do that, right? How do you approach that? How do you see things from a different perspective to set yourself up for success in the situation where you have something that you want to do or you want to work through? That if it wasn't working a certain way before, how do you set yourself to be successful, to be rewarding, right? So that you can achieve something that you want to do because you've approached it from a way where it's a win situation. And if you explain how important something is and you explain how you're approaching it or how you're doing and you're communicating and that person responds in a negative way, then that's something that you have to look at, that relationship, right? That partnership. You have to look at that and say, well, do I want to surround myself with this person who's not understanding when I've done everything that I could do, when I've explained, when I've presented myself, when I've done all these things, and this person is still reacting this way? Do I need to look at this relationship and say, is this a relationship that I want to surround myself and that I want to continue with? So it's like you're learning all of these different things. So something else for you to look at. But I feel this is a very rewarding experience for you. Okay. Whoa! Those cards just went flying. I don't know if you saw or not. Blessed, right? Feeling blessed. I love that because I feel like that's what this is over here. We'll just look at these because they came flying out. And we said to be fair, right? To be fair, to approach the situation where you're communicating the best that you can communicate, right? Finding that balance, because she has the scales. Learning from the past and saying, in the past, that's not worked. Now, I want to have that balance. I want to have that communication. And then we have Yang, which represents the masculine. It's the power of action. It's time to act. Making things happen in business, making things happen in love, making things happen in relationships, taking the actions that if it didn't work before, how do I change things up? How do I communicate? How do I put myself in a successful situation where it's a win-win, right? Where I'm setting myself up for success. All right. Thank you so much for watching. As always, stay positive, stay safe, and I will see you next time.